Welcome, my dear students of this college, Mahatavananda Mahavidyalaya. Especially today, I'm going to explain the second part of Algae. The first part, the introductory one, already I discussed for semester 1, general and honor students, into separate videos previously included in the YouTube and also shared the links. Today, and to explain the range of thallus organization in algae. So firstly, from your initial class, you must recall that algae are chlorophyll-bearing autophytic members of thallophytes. And if we consider their thallus organization, they exhibit uh, various type of thallus, or we can say that they exhibit an enormous diversity of their thallus structure or architecture, which ranges from the microscopic unicellular habit to the much more complicated macroscopic structure of huge length. Initially, if we consider this range of thallus structure in algae, you can follow this chart also. This chart explaining their basic nature, that is, either they are unicellular or they are multicellular. In the unicellular one, they may be motile or non-motile. Similarly, in the multicellular type, they form either a non-motile colony or they form a motile colony. And in some cases, the multicellular one, they form filaments, and they may also form the heterotrichous habit, which I'll discuss later. The filaments may be unbranched or simple branched or pseudo branched. And in heterotrichous type, okay, it forms a special type of structure, much more complicated. And in a siphonaceous type, it forms a siphon-like structure with multinucleated condition. And in some cases, they form pseudo-parenchymatous-like structure. And in some cases, they form parenchymatous structure. Now, I am ready to explain each one with a proper example and pictorial representation. The first one, that is the unicellular motile type, this type includes the most simplest form, with unicellular plant body having a rounded or pear-shaped structure bearing two flagella anteriorly placed. They are obviously motile and all activities maintained by this individual cell. And the most important, prominent example explained by Chlamydomonas. This is the Chlamydomonas. So these are two anteriorly placed flagella. In the anterior part, there is a contractile vacuoles. This is the nucleus, pyrenoid, and chloroplast. So this is the most simpler one. And they may also form unicellular non-motile or coccoid type. This is the second one, represented by chlorella. So in unicellular non-motile or coccoid type, in this type, they explain a small, more or less spherical, non-flagellate. This is the most important characteristic feature, and non-motile members like chlorella, chlorococcum, etc. Next, motile synovial. Firstly, and then we will discuss non-motile synovial. Firstly, motile synovial or colonial type. In this type, a group of member or individuals of unicellular cells with their flagella protruded out, and they grouped and embedded within a gelatinous sheath to form a more or less rounded motile colony or synobium. And the word synobium, this is actually singular term, and the plural is cynobia, Coenobia. And the typical example is volvox. So volvox forming cynobia, and these are motile. Okay. Next, the non-motile synovial form. Also, we consider this example also, that is Pandorina. This also an example of motile synovial type, like the volvox. Then, the non-motile synovial type. That is, here the group develop a synobia or colony, but they are formed by non-motile cells. Okay, so here the colony or synobium is composed of non-motile cells arranged in a single layer according to their axis, and they are attached end to end, forming a pentagonal or hexagonal structure like synedesmus, hydrodicton, pediastrum, etc. Here, this is the structure of synedesmus. They may form the spine-like structure or may not. And this is the hexagonal meshes of hydrodicton. Both these two are example of non-motile synovial type. Then there is a special type known as palmelloid type. It is actually a temporary stage formed in the alga Chlamydomonas. Already I mentioned. This is a member of Chlorophyceae. And this structure, that is the temporary stage, especially formed during unfavorable condition. And during the vegetative phase, the non-motile parent cell produces several non-motile daughter cells, which are embedded within a thick gelatinous envelope of the parent cell wall. The daughter cells further divide, forming numerous cells within the matrix, which later on become motile by the formation of flagella. This palmelloid habit is also noted in some cyanophycean members like Aphanothece also. Next, the filamentous type, the most important and one of the diversified type of form explained by this type of structure. In this type, the cells are arranged one upon the other, either in a row or in several rows, to develop the plant body in a filamentous fashion or in a thread-like structure. These filamentous structures may be definite in length. The filaments sometimes differentiated into base and apex, and sometimes they are not develop this discrimination. The filamentous type may be branched or unbranched. If we consider the branched type like Cladophora, a typical branched representative, and the unbranched type like the member of Spirogyra, Eulothrix, Zygnema, Udogonia. These are all member of Chlorophyceae and are unbranched. And there is also a false branching condition also. That is, the branching is not true. Typical example represented by Scytonema, a member of Cyanophyceae. Now the thalloid type, as the name implies, they form a thallus, a true thallus-like structure. This is explained by the genus Alva. This type is seen in Alva, a member of Chlorophyceae. Here the plant body is parenchymatous, that is formed by the parenchyma tissue like structure, and they are formed by repeated cell divisions, more than one plane. Then the siphonaceous type, represented by Vaucaria, already I mentioned. Here the thallus is made up of long, hollow, tube-like structure called cenocyte, that is multinucleated condition without a partition wall. And this is branched. The typical example includes Vaucaria, a member of Chlorophyta, then Botridium. This is also a member of siphonaceous type. Botridium belongs to Xanthophyceae or Xanthophyta, etc. Next, heterotrichous type, that is, consists of prostrate and erect system. In this type, the plant body is differentiated into a prostrate or system, which is completely creeping, and an erect or standing system consisting of one or more branched filaments. So this type, explained by some advanced type of the thallus like Coleochaete. This is the Coleochaete, and these spike-like structures are known as seta or setae, and these reddish color structures are reproductive structures. They form patch-like structures. Coleochaete, member of Chlorophyceae. Then Stegioclonium. This also an example of heterotrichous type. And then Batrachospermum. This is a member of Rhodophyceae. And you have to recall this name because Batrachospermum, this is one of the representative of freshwater red algae. Okay? So, in heterotrichous type, they form two type of structures. One is prostrate or creeping and one is erect. Next, a spatial or complex type. Here, the thallus structure is much more complicated. Okay, and they form specialized reproductive structures, like you can consider the case of Cara, where there are two types of specialized reproductive structures, globule and nucleule. Globule for male and nucleule for female. Then fucus, then laminaria. This is the structure of fucus. Fucus and laminaria, these are all members of Phaeophyceae. In these cases, the thalli structure much more complicated, much more bigger in size, and they are also complex in their external and internal architecture also. And in this way, the algae show its diversification into various types of thallus organization. So, at first, go through what I mentioned initially, the structures in detail, and then study the textbook. And if you have any question, ask in the respective WhatsApp group associated with this department. So, best of luck and be prepared for the next class. Thank you.